Chapter 17, Apply. How to apply Scrum in a company. At this point in the real, live, in-person, or online Scrum Master seminar, we want real hands-on practice running good Scrum. Some classes are hosted inside top-performing Agile companies. One class, if so, our class will walk together or join the virtual Scrum room together to visit that already launched team. So what I'm trying to say is, if the class is being hosted inside a company that already has some great Scrum or excellent Agile, I'll bring the class to watch, to observe for at least a few minutes some of the excellent agility in action, so they can translate from the academic learning of the class to the real practice in the company. Our seminar attendees can observe, take notes, and ask questions. Sometimes we travel to a nearby high-performing company as a field trip. We also present each team real scenarios that happened in real companies for them to pull into their team through the Meta-Scrum pattern. The real scenarios are then worked on in each team of Scrum Master students. These are cards, scenario cards. Online, they're virtual Post-it notes that say, here's an opportunity or here's a challenge that real companies have faced. How would you use agility and what you've learned in this class to solve it, to take advantage of the opportunity or diffuse the problem? The real scenarios are then worked on in each team of Scrum Master students. The Scrum Master seminar teams then present their potential solutions for group peer review using the group sprint review pattern. The end state goal is that all attendees have thought through the backlog that they can create and facilitation steps they can take to transform many crippling business problems into Agile opportunities. This lets attendees practice all their new Agile skills one more time. We have provided a selection of scenarios along with a set of good actions for the instructor to keep in mind. A common pitfall of a new instructor or instructor in a less confident mode that day is to simply congratulate each team regardless of what they present back as possible solutions during group sprint review. Instead, we recommend the instructor should bring teams toward a better solution or the best known solution and congratulate the teams in a confidence building way to reinforce the Agile mindset. It is necessary for the instructor to have a clear concept of one or more good outcomes and not settle for anything less awesome than what the instructor has already conceived, while simultaneously being ready to learn new and better as the soon-to-be Scrum Masters innovate on the spot. Yeah, many times I've been in classes where the students present a pretty good idea, but there's still waterfall mindset there. Like, I'll escalate this to my manager and hand it off to this other department. And there's not the aliveness, the activity, the take challenge, and the realization of the cross-functional mobbing, swarming of Scrum. When that happens on a good day, I, as the instructor, will say, oh, that is great. That is a step in a fantastic direction, because it is. And please also consider this. And I'll say the best answer that I'm aware of to date. So I try to motivate and upbuild the students while leading them through. Now, on a very low energy day or when I'm training a new instructor, they'll often say, great, and clap and go to the next question. And we miss the learning opportunity entirely. And the students notice that at some level and get less enthusiasm. Joe Justice recommends a mindfulness exercise on what would my ideal reaction be to learning something much better than I know now? How would I recognize it quickly? How would I thank the person or people who taught me? How would I learn it fully, quickly? How could I improve it in a way that thanked those who taught me? Here are scenarios we have presented in Scrum Master seminars for students to workshop and create backlog to improve. Each scenario is true and actually occurred in one or more organizations. Scenario 1, not everyone is on board. One group in the middle of the company sees an opportunity to grow market share if they deliver fast and execute with tight focus. The other 90% of the company has no idea and no interest. This happened in a state government in the United States and other companies in other locations. Question 1, how might you support the teams that want to improve? Step 2, how might you generate interest from the majority of the company? Step 3, how might you make it difficult or impossible to stop the process improvements being tried? So for the people who aren't interested, how would you make it difficult or impossible for them to stop the interested group from succeeding? We will provide our best understanding of great answers to these scenarios, and we assume that the very moment we send this text out, we'll learn better ways. To make sure we learn better ways, please contact the authors on social media with your answers, which should spark some interesting conversations from us authors, from other readers of this book, from previous students, and from other professionals. It may be a win-win, so please try it. Here we go, our best answers to date. 1, facilitating retrospectives for continuous improvements will arm the team with a continuous renewed backlog of likely positive initiatives. Negotiating with the people who are authoring business processes to obtain a waiver, permission to run experiments that may in some cases deviate from established and published business processes, will give your teams the protection they need to continue to experiment and possibly even create sponsorship. Then, the focus can be on keeping the team's morale high. This can be accomplished by protecting the team from interruptions and distractions and business as usual old process constraints to the extent responsible. 2, having a charismatic person give an all-hands internal keynote may be the most rapid way to achieve the enthusiasm you may need to try a broader Agile experiment in the company and even with suppliers. Ultimately, the best convincing is success. We would measure the KPIs, the key process or progress indicators, the business cares about in the areas where we are able to run Agile methods, like the Scrum framework, and make it fun and inoffensive to see the gains that are made. Not an us versus them approach, but an opportunity that all staff can opt in if they want to. Making it easy to show interest has helped us, posting visiting hours when all hands are explicitly invited, providing snacks, playing music, and otherwise making the event as fun as may be responsible. If the organization as a whole comes to associate the work of your teams of Scrum Masters with performance and fun, and welcoming newcomers without insulting other ways of working, likely more and more people will opt in. 3, this one is difficult. Leadership, those who determine funding and policy, can ban any policy, including Scrum, anytime for any reason. Showing success in the way these people measure success will be important, as well as simply being friendly and inviting and inoffensive. Continuously keeping these people interested is a priority, and having a backlog to delight them each sprint forever is an important part of retaining this customer. For more practice and experience on this, I'll see you in the product owner class. Scenario 2, making the best product and faster, but no one is buying. Your team has already blown by every metric your group has ever been measured against, but the rate of contracts being signed and their value has not increased. You simply have a bigger and bigger catalog of the absolute best product, and it's rapidly getting better. But no one in your group has been promoted, and you are worried morale might start to sink. Swiss wearable electronics company. This company was awesome, by the way, and their product was unbelievably good. Question 1. What might be causing the disconnect between product improvement and actual sales? Question 2. How might you check your hypothesis? Here are our best answers as of this writing. 1. This is a product owner opportunity. The product owner is ideally your customer, easily reacting to the brilliance of the team as they learn what is possible, and then informing what they most wish for next in order to buy. In this real company case, the product owner was not the customer. The product owner was a technologist with a fascinating technical vision for the product, but not able to validate the market by winning sales. This person really would be best employed as a developer, perhaps rotating into the product owner role some sprints to keep the technical excellence high and focused. In the case that the product owner cannot be the customer, for example, there are thousands of different types of customers, then at least one of the rotated product owners is best set up if they are an expert in putting themselves in the mindset of each customer in turn. This is accomplished by training in human factors, user experience, user-centered design, and creating personas to match each customer segment. The Scrum Master may support this by calling for rotating the Scrum roles, adding backlog to create personas from real customer purchasing agents and their influencers, and networking to find the ideal product owner. For the person playing the product owner role any given sprint, we recommend our seminar and book, Product Owner, www.abi-agile.com/en/book or abi-agile.com/en/ for the courses. We suggest bringing the customers when we're able to get them into the team room as the team is working, and ask them to reprioritize or refine your group Agile backlog to make the shortest list practical of what they are ready to buy. Now, that practice, inviting the customers in, that does have a name, where the customers reprioritize the development backlog directly with the product owner consulting, and the product owner ultimately makes the decision, but the product owner and team get great feedback listening to the customer. That has a name. It's called Radical Management by Steve Denning, a former manager of the World Bank. Scenario 3, invest in simulation and training. Your team estimates that building automation and simulation for one frequent manual test would cost 80 points of effort or complexity, and will increase velocity another 20 points every sprint after that. The team has a current velocity of 40 points per 1 week sprint. It's a global automotive company. I also saw this in aviation and different versions of this scenario in software companies. Question 1, how would you make an evidence-based decision that you could defend to investors on whether or not to simulate the frequent manual test? Question 2, how would you solicit team support for your conclusion? Answers, the best we have them today. 1, first, the team should estimate the payoff. The evidence-based argument is made easily enough by showing the velocity increase. If the guesses of effort and payoff are correct, in 4 sprints, 1 week each, the team will be pulling ahead in terms of overall performance. But what's more, the team will learn more about automation and more about the test. Also, the team has now created a force multiplier that lasts as long as the test is relevant. Automating this test is an excellent idea as long as the test is relevant for at least 4 sprints. But even if the product is thought to be completed in 3 sprints, it is still likely automating this test is the best option. The test may be valuable as a future regression test. The test may be further valuable because of the increase in capability across the team. The accuracy of the estimates can be defended if the estimated effort and complexity and likely velocity acceleration were attained using justice estimation as described in Chapter 8, Estimate. 2, involving all the people doing the work in estimation, as described in justice estimation in Chapter 8, Estimate, will create some level of support. The numbers being used were collaboratively created by the team, and that creates a level of shared ownership. The book Agile Testing, A Practical Guide for Testers and Agile Teams by Lisa Crispin and Janet Gregory further helps here, and starting a book club with this book can allow many people to reinforce your conclusion. Attending the Agile Testing Days conference, in person or virtually, will also reinforce the point, if that is an option. Scenario 4, controlling Agile leader. A new Agile leader is acting in a command control way. The leadership team has commanded the company to go Agile and appointed a business leader known for getting the job done. So far, this is not a problem. So far, this is good. The new Agile leader tells existing Scrum Masters and Agile coaches to stop what they are doing because the leader needs to come up with a plan alone. Okay, this is the problem. They're not acting as a mob. They're not acting as a collaborative system. They're not acting as they're not giving people power to self-organize. They're saying, stop, don't collaborate, especially not with me. I will give you the plan. This is now siloed thinking, and innovation can't be better than whatever this single self-appointed or mandated leader is coming up with. And this crushes morale. And if you want a network of self-organizing, adapting, complex adaptive systems, they have to be empowered or they can't have the effect you want. So you've ruined the culture right there, even though you called it Agile. Product owners are currently enthusiastically running a community of practice and showing business success, but are told to cancel their information sharing and collaboration until the top-down Agile rollout plan is announced from the new Agile leader. Aviation manufacturing, industrial power manufacturing, big automotive manufacturing, at least these 3 companies, if not more. Question: what would possible short and long-term plans be to systematically improve this problem? Our best answers so far. 1, first, we need to protect the morale of the existing Agile work. Likely many people are withdrawing as they had been told to stop and wait to be told what to do. Their decision rights have clearly just been taken away, and a very normal human reaction includes some negative emotions and stress from not knowing what decision rights the staff still has. As Scrum Masters, we care deeply about organizational psychology because it has effect on quality of life and work performance. We likely will meet with each person, to the extent practical, in their teams to give our reassurances that we understand someone in leadership is removing decision-making rights, and we all need clarity on what our decision rights are, and we will advocate for involvement in the plan by the people doing the work, as that is an Agile value, with evidence and performance across the business. Then we will likely do everything we can to get this new Agile leader into a Scrum Master seminar. Even if they have taken one before, clearly the Agile values, the self-organization team components, and the complex adaptive systems mechanism need to be reminded, or else the new organization would not be Agile at all, regardless of the word Agile leader, regardless of what word this Agile leader may use. Longer term, requesting permission to reestablish communities of practice for all 3 Scrum roles and requesting the Agile leader rotate which role they play on an Agile transformation Scrum team may allow the best practices already discovered to resume, while rebuilding the complex adaptive systems aspect of Scrum and restoring self-organization. Scenario 5, managers' secret tasks. Teams recently created a backlog to show everything they believe they must accomplish. For every team, we now see that managers are commanding people to work on projects not agreed by their superiors. These secret projects are for recovering past mistakes or promises to clients. When the managers realize this, fearing for their career, they start slowing down the Agile transformation, cutting coaching budget, and raising doubts about applicability of the method on their context. Software company and large German car manufacturer. So again, to say it more clearly, these companies started to introduce Agile, and that makes the work visible. And it made visible secret projects that mid and upper managers were inserting without their superiors knowing to cover for their past mistakes. Like we were late, we actually failed to deliver something. So we have these secret projects now to keep the customers happy or rectify the mistake, but they're secret because we said we delivered on time in our previous waterfall. Well, now Agile is making all the work visible. And these mid and senior managers are fearing for their jobs. So they start creating FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt around Agile. Instead of fixing the problem, they start to wreck the visibility. So super yucky. But it really happened, and it does really happen in real companies. So what do you do if you're in the Scrum Master role? Okay, question 1. What would you do immediately to make visibility difficult to roll back? Question 2, what would you do more long-term to turn this discovery into momentum and desire for more visibility, even among the managers that are currently fearful for their careers? Our highest utility answers to date. 1, making any change stick requires high morale. Clearly, the managers are suffering from lack of psychological safety. Working with the manager's superiors to provide career reassurance while simultaneously asking for more visibility, more transparency, to find the bottlenecks to flow so that the organization can improve, creates pull to do the right thing. Simultaneously attempting to reduce the cortisol buildup in the manager's brain and unlocking some serotonin and oxytocin will also improve the psychology of this situation. This can be accomplished by making the visibility reports disarmingly pleasant. These should be well suited to the viewer's personality. For someone, it might be with balloons, like a birthday party, and phrasing discovered problems as found opportunities. These small steps, while sounding silly, could be essential to surviving this initial backlash. 2, more long-term, a culture of promoting and rewarding continuous improvement and not rewarding promises that are not kept, which is effectively what the managers are wishing to cover up, will sustain the visibility and iterative support for more Agile mindset practices. This comes from hiring, promotion, and bonus policies. Currently, some organizations are promoting managers to say the right things, even if data suggests otherwise. Making backlog items to educate and build interest and goodwill from human resources and the groups responsible for promotion criteria will move the organization towards rewriting the compensation criteria to be evidence-based and more supportive of the Agile values and principles. When the compensation plan has been updated, the change in behavior will occur in bulk. Scenario 6, sunk costs. The company has just completed an 11-year-long project to complete an internal combustion automobile engine. The business model says the engine must stay in production for 14 years to recover the sunk costs to create the new engine and set up its manufacturing. The electric competition is already ahead in all relevant metrics and updates their motor every 1 week. The target market now wants electric instant torque and silent power delivery. Luxury German automobile company. Question 1. If you were hired as an executive consultant, what backlog might you propose to ship an updated motor each week? Here's what we did in this case, as this case and all the others above actually happened. 1, we made a backlog of the XM, or extreme manufacturing principles, and implemented them in a cross-functional team capable of completing and integrating motors. This took training a group of Scrum Masters and inserting an expert coach that had already been trained as an XM black belt. the group then set up as their own cross-functional team. For more on this, see Chapter 10, XM, Extreme Manufacturing. When you wrote your own answers to these questions, how did you do? We want to hear your answers, even if you liked our answers better. And we definitely want to hear your answers if some or all of your answers may have been better fit and higher utility. Please contact us on social media or through our emails if you need to be private for some reason.